Good evening. Welcome back to Thailand Ducksworth Reviews. Before we get into today's topic, original meaning of woke and what it actually meant, woke comes from black history. Stay woke did not come from politics, Twitter, or cable news. It came from black survival. For those of you new here, I'm Thailand. I'm a black woman from South Louisiana, and I've been living in the Pacific Northwest for almost 2 decades now. So I've had the chance to see how this country talks about race in two very different regions. Now, once you understand where the word woke comes from, the way it's being used today versus what it actually meant and what it the origin of it will make a lot more sense. So let's start with the original meaning of stay woke. In black communities, especially in the South, where I'm from, Louisiana, staying woke meant being aware of danger, not just socially, but physically. It was a warning. It meant paying attention to who has power, who doesn't, and what systems are working against us. It wasn't about being offended, it was about being prepared. And growing up in South Louisiana, this wasn't academic, it was practical. It was something passed down from our elders. Be aware of your surroundings, watch how people move, watch how institutions move, and don't assume fairness is guaranteed. That meaning didn't disappear when black people like myself moved, traveled across state lines. What changed wasn't the word, it was who started using it. Before anyone tells you what woke means today, you need to hear where it actually came from.
According to Merriam-Webster, the term stay woke dates all the way back to the 1930s. It was used in a protest song called the Scottsboro Boys, which was about 9 black teens falsely accused of rape. The artist, better known as Leadbelly, was warning black Americans to keep their eyes open and to stay alert to racist violence. Think about that. That phrase, stay woke, that wasn't born on Twitter. That phrase is almost 100 years old.
That's why staying woke was never about being offended. It was about staying alive. Now, somewhere along the way, the word woke left black communities and entered mainstream political language. Here's the important part, it wasn't misunderstood. It was rebranded on purpose. Right wing conservative commentators and politicians took a word rooted in black awareness and turned it into a punchline, a scare word, a catch all insult. Suddenly, everything they didn't like became woke. History, diversity, accountability, even basic empathy and human decency. And the genius of that strategy is this, they never have to define it. If woke means everything, it ends up meaning nothing except something that they want all of us to fear. And this isn't the first time something meant to protect black people got twisted into something negative. Now, if you've seen this pattern before, it's because it's the same playbook, just a different word. Notice how they don't explain what woke actually is. That's intentional. Because if they actually have to define it honestly, awareness of inequality, history, and power, it wouldn't sound threatening. So, by turning it into a joke or a boogeyman, like they have, they avoid talking about the issues the word was warning us about in the first place. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Listen to what happens when someone is simply asked to define the word.
Do you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
No, Bethany, that confusion isn't accidental. It's what happens when a word gets weaponized instead of explained. This is where the irony really shows up. A word born out of black survival and resistance is now being used to suppress conversations about injustice. When people mock woke, they're not just mocking a trend, They're mocking the idea that marginalized people should stay alert to systems that harm them. Having lived both in the South and now in the Pacific Northwest, I've seen how differently this word is used depending on the audience. Now, in the South, stay woke was a warning. Out here, I watched it get turned into a punchline. Same word, completely different intentions. And once the meaning collapses, the word stops being a warning and turns into a joke.
So is a person woke because their brain is broke? Or is it the broken brain that's driving them insane?
Now, that's the shift. A word rooted in survival reduced to a punchline. And that's the damage. When a word meant to protect people is turned into something shameful, people stop listening to the warning altogether. As we can see, that's not accidental, that's called political strategy. Y'all don't have to agree with everything that gets labeled woke. None of us. But all of us should respect where the word comes from. Because stay woke was never a trend. It was a warning, and the fact that it had to exist at all tells you everything you need to know. If this gave you a new perspective, please sit with it and just think about it. I would love to get your feedback. If you have hung in here with me, I am Tylane. This is Tylane Ducksworth Reviews. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all stay safe and woke. Until next time, I'm out. Y'all take care.